Hello and welcome to another Overpaid Over the Bar Fantasy Football Mini League special, because they're all special. And today we have with us one of the Speak brothers, the magnificent Adam Speak, who, well, he can tell us all about himself. Hello, Adam.
Good morning. How's it going?
Yeah, not bad. This is very much a morning. We're at 7:30 Lisbon and London time. And I thought, oh yeah, 1 in the morning it'll be light, but not yet at 7:30. So I still don't get the light, but never mind. Um, Good to see you. And I don't think there's any doubt with your mug and your tattoos and your t-shirt which team you in the Premier League you support. But one thing we'd like to know about today is the experience of a real Premier League football fan, because none of us in the mini league actually watch Premier League live, or at least hardly ever. So I want to know all about being a season ticket holder at the Emirates Stadium in Arsenal. You don't go to away games because you don't. It's impossible to get tickets for them, and I think probably Rachel would throw a. I mean, if I was her, I wouldn't let that happen. But tell us about this. So when did you? Well, let's start from the beginning. How old were you when
Hmm.
you became an Arsenal fan?
So I definitely can't pinpoint an age. So with that question, I always just go back to the first time I went to Highbury, which also may have been the only time I went to Highbury. I can't remember. My dad managed to get a couple of tickets to a game during the Invincible season. So nice to say I went to one of those. It was Arsenal Man City back before they were the Man City that we know today. And it was Jose Antonio Reyes' debut, who is no longer even with us.
Oh,
And yeah, it was two one. Thierry Henry, not sure if you've heard of him, scored an absolute worldie from outside the box. Uh, Steve McManaman came on for City, I believe, after coming back from
That's
Madrid.
an interesting one. I forgot
Anelka
that.
was playing. Yeah, yeah, Anelka played for City to
Right, of
booze from the Arsenal fans. So yeah, it was a
course.
lot going on. But yeah, from that moment, yeah, it was I was hooked, but obviously had no way of getting tickets at that age. So I'd have been about 13, um, and also wasn't living in London. So obviously that would make it harder as well. But then so the move to the Emirates obviously benefited me in the sense that there was so many more tickets. It went from about 40,000 to 60,000 capacity. So I basically started my my life goal of simply moving to London and getting a season ticket. So I went to uni, did economics, put my name down on the waiting list in about 2009, 2010. And then yeah, went through all that, managed to get to London, and then just before the pandemic, so I'd been on the waiting list for about 11 years. I got the phone call, got the magic phone call.
And where are your seats? Are they decent seats? Whereabouts are they in the stadium?
They are so we're looking down the goal, down the pitch, but right at the top, right at the back, underneath the clock end.
Oh,
Um,
mhm.
so we are, we're in
But
the
wait,
absolute
they have a
rafters. I
clock
mean,
end. They have a clock end at the Emirates as well as they had one at Highbury. They call it the clock end. I
yeah,
remember
they
the
moved.
clock end at
They
Highbury
brought the
was.
exact clock.
Oh God, I remember the clock end at Highbury was like the away fans end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we have the away fans on the lower tier. So we look down to our right on the over the corner flag is where the away fans sit now.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and then in some cup games where the allocation is massive, we do get some to our right, which then does change the experience again if you get the away fans on the same level. But yeah, it is really far away, and whenever I kind of bring friends or family or whatever, they always say they're kind of worried about where they're going to be sat because of how far away I say it is. But then actually, when they get there, they go, you know what, this is great. I
Yeah.
don't think there's really a bad seat in the stadium because it's so new. I mean,
Right.
there's no pillars blocking people or anything like that.
Yeah, I hear that the Emirates Stadium and the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium are both amazing places to watch football. I have been to the Emirates. Freddie once took me with I think it was your dad's season tickets, or like a group of people in the town had
Yeah.
and I went to watch when they had Alexis Sanchez. So I went to watch them beat QPR, and it was right. They were right in the middle of the pitch. There was a beautiful, beautiful view. Um, I think that was the last time I saw a Premier League game. I, I, I would assume it is. I can't remember. I actually went to Highbury as well in the '98 season when they won the league. I took some students with where I was teaching in Southwest London, some Polish kids and some Italian kids. I mean, they were like 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds. Um, and Arsenal won 2-0. I think it was one of the first games of the season because it was in the summer still.
Mm.
Um, and Ian Wright scored. And I remember the Polish students were like in awe of me because I'd taken them to an Arsenal game, and then the Italian students were like, "Oh, it's not as good as a San Siro," like it's like, yeah. But
Well, funny you should mention that because then you touched on not being able to go to away games, and that is true kind of 99% of the time. It's a closed shop, right? You have to get away points to
mm,
qualify for away games, and you
mm,
have to go to away games to qualify for away points. So it's just the same group of couple of thousand nutcases that go every week, rain or shine, anywhere around the country or the world. But every now and again, a game will drop to 0 away points, which means season ticket holders without any away points have the chance to go. And I did actually go to the San Siro a few months ago in
oh,
the
that's right.
Champions League to watch us lose 1-0. And yeah, it's funny. The only other away game is also the Etihad. It was a midweek FA Cup game against Man City a few years ago, and we also lost 1-0. So I'm yet to see an away goal.
Did you have any
Um,
problems getting to the stadium at San Siro? I heard there were a lot of Arsenal fans delayed on the way.
the treatment we got was some of the worst I've ever seen from the kind of the San Siro security, the police. Like, yeah, we were kettled in. We got there 2 hours before kickoff and missed the first 10 seconds. Like, it took so long to get
Wow.
in, and then yeah, they let us out really late, about an hour and a half after the game ended. All the tubes had stopped, so we had to get a line bike about half an hour to our hotel.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I can say I've been to the San Siro, but I can't say the experience was great.
Yeah, yeah. I never recommend traveling to Southern Europe with English teams. It's the same things happen in Portugal's okay, but the police can be a bit, they can be a bit, but like, I mean, France and Italy in particular,
Mm,
like the policing is so bad in those countries of
mm.
football. I mean, it reminds me of the 80s or 70s.
Yeah,
70s in England was very much like this in terms of the police attitude towards football fans. 70s, especially the 80s, the police just in England, the police just got super, super tough on any kind of football fan because of the hooliganism,
sure.
anticipation of hooliganism. And the Italians and the French still think still think English clubs are like the English national team, which very much let the side down in this respect because they still cause plenty of trouble on their
Yeah,
travels. Um, so, I mean, yeah, if you're going to go and watch football in Europe, go and watch a European team.
yeah, fair,
You know what I
fair.
mean? Go and watch
Yeah,
it. Go and watch them. Um,
yeah. I do have
uh,
one more away game this season, which was you'll know why I got a ticket once you know what game it is. It's the second leg of the League Cup against Newcastle. So we're 2-0 down,
yeah,
and it's a Wednesday night in Newcastle. So unsurprisingly, there was a few tickets, but
and
but it's for these things, and it's, I mean, not not taking away from the fact I love watching football and love watching Arsenal. It's for me, it's the social side of it. It's
yeah,
just I absolutely love it. I've been so lucky with where I sit in the ground because I mean, I'm not like I just sort of force myself on everyone, but we've got such a good group now. There's 10 of us that go every week. They train up in the morning with some drinks on the train. Like, yeah, it will just be so much fun. Regardless of the result.
and are you staying over at Newcastle? You've got a hotel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It would be that or get some nightmare coach about midnight and get back to London at sort of 6 or 7 in the morning. So I mean, I hope you can do the whole thing for a relatively acceptable price.
Right. I think I think it's my internet connection that's a bit unstable. I apologize to anyone watching, but you're breaking up. I've just tried another internet connection on here. I hope it's not interfering too much with anybody watching. So, fancy football. Uh, you
Yes.
tried something different this season. You went for the anti-FPL option. Um, so up
I did.
until well, first of all, let's. I just want to do a quick. I just want to do a quick revision of the standings because it's actually we could be moving into a point of the season where we have um, a clear leader because Tom is stretching his lead now to 43 points at the top, and his challengers are not looking particularly strong, and they don't look to have players that actually um, can challenge him very easily. So if we look at his team, you see, I'm looking at his team, which is this, and I can't see how I can pull back points against him um, in the short term, at least. I think my only hope
Did
is.
anyone else have? Did
Mhm.
anyone else have Clivert this week?
Yes, Piers had Clivert. Yeah, yeah. Piers moved up into third place. He has
Cool.
played the bench boost, but he hasn't played the triple captain. So this is an absolute clear advantage going into the game week with the Liverpool double because he can put it on Salah uh, in the double game week.
Yeah, Salah's done nothing in 2 games, has he?
Yeah,
Because
but
of my captaincy.
well, yeah, he looks a little bit tired, but he has Bournemouth and Everton in a double
Mhm.
game week coming up, and Tom will surely captain
Okay.
him, triple captain him in that. And if you haven't used your triple captain, I suggest you do the same. But you could go a bit renegade. I mean, you know, given that you're coming from behind and everything. So you're here at the bottom on minus 406 points, um, and your team. Um, Actually, it's a good team, isn't it? When did you pick this team a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, I think this is like my third or fourth week actually trying.
Okay, so
But again,
very
I
unlucky.
keep
Yeah,
leaving that Palace player on the bench.
yeah,
Yeah.
very unlucky to have Cucurella and Lacroix on the bench because the the team there's no argument to say they should have started maybe ahead of Rodgers because he was playing at Arsenal, but there's not really an argument to say they should have started ahead of Cunha, for example. So it's not really a mistake. Yeah, it's a good team. I mean, you must have all your chips in hand. Um,
Uh, I think I had to play my wild card to just sort out the team initially.
yeah, but you have another
But
one.
apart from that, yeah.
You have
Oh,
another.
okay, fair enough.
There's another wild card before the end of the season.
Oh, there
Um,
you go.
y- there's a lot of there's a. Have you heard about the assistant manager chip?
Yeah, yeah. I haven't properly looked into that, but is that a similar thing to you want to triple captain Salah on a double game week? Do you should be Arnie slotting your assistant manager at that same time?
I mean, I'm thinking about slot, but I'm also thinking would three Liverpool players score as many as slot?
Right.
Because you're looking at a possible 12 points from Arne Slot, but they're playing Bournemouth away, and Bournemouth
Yeah, fair.
are no mugs. So it may not
No,
be
no.
enough 12 points. Um, so I'm wondering a combination of Salah, Van Dijk, Trent, Luis Diaz, Gakpo, you know, or Allison, um, would may score the same as Slot, and then you could gamble a bit with the assistant manager because you get bonus points if it's a team further down the league, you get hefty
Yeah. Okay.
you get hefty bonus points if you choose an assistant manager 5 places behind another one who beats them or draws with them. So although you have to be kind of very lucky to get that, but anyway. So yeah, I hope you stay in the mini league next season. I hope whether you take it seriously or not. I like the community thing and having you
Yeah,
involved.
absolutely.
Um, so back to Arsenal, which is probably more interesting for you anyway. Um, the yeah, it seems the internet connection's okay now, which is good. So I've been watching them a bit recently, and if you're a neutral, they've suddenly become dull as ditch water. What's going on? What do you put this down to?
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of a few things. Obviously, it's very easy for me to say, "Oh, Saka's out," but Saka is out. If Liverpool lost Salah or if City lost,
I think
or
that's the
the City
reason.
have lost players.
Yeah, I think that's the reason for a few difficult results. But even before
Yeah,
Saka went out, the football wasn't as good.
there is a slight concern that an Arteta might be overcoaching. Someone like Martinelli probably needs a little bit more freedom. I mean, Freddie will tell you that Martinelli's so overrated and shouldn't be anywhere near the team anyway. But the
Oh,
last thing
really?
some of these players need, yeah, I'll speak to Freddie about Martinelli. But yes, someone like Martinelli probably doesn't want as much kind of stringent tactics and overcoaching as some of the other players might need. So yeah, the freedom and that creativity may have dropped a little bit recently. And I think it's essentially when the results are going well, we won't really talk about it. But then if you combine the boring football with no results, then yeah, it does sort of get asked the question. But I mean, people have called Man City boring to watch for years and years, right? And and as long as they keep delivering trophies, people don't really bat an eyelid.
Yeah. I mean, I was never in that camp fully, especially when they had players like David Silva.
Mm,
I could watch him play football all day. I think since they signed Haaland, they
mm,
definitely have become uh, more formulaic in the way they play.
mm.
Um, but looking at Arsenal. You never know with these things. You get swings of form, and Liverpool could easily
Yeah.
have a dip. And Arsenal are what, 4 points? How many points behind?
No, it's six with the game in hand, so nine realistically.
Well, yeah, we'll see that game in hand in the double game week soon.
Yeah,
So
the final Merseyside derby at Goodison Park.
yeah, and I think the Bournemouth away game is the one that
Mm,
fans of Arsenal or
yeah,
Manchester City will be looking at, hoping that Liverpool slip up. But yeah, I don't think it's not too bad that people are writing them off, because in previous seasons there was so much pressure for them to win it,
yeah,
and they came so
yeah,
close that by March and April, the levels of pressure were really getting to the players. It's probably good for them at
yeah,
this point that people are not, they're thinking they can't win it. Um, Although I think Liverpool handle that pressure a lot better than Arsenal do, because they've won the Champions League, they've won the
yeah,
Premier League in the last 5 years. So
yeah, absolutely.
for them, it's not this big deal of winning it. For Arsenal, it's a huge deal, and very much gets to the players and the fans, I think. When it gets to near the finishing post. I mean, I don't think that's the only reason why they didn't win the league. Um, uh, I do remember towards the end of last season. Do you remember a Liverpool Manchester City game? You probably watched it, where Doku fouled inside the box with his studs up into someone's chest, and the referee didn't give it, and it ended up a draw.
That rings a bell. Yeah,
I mean, that to me was one of the worst decisions of the entire season because it was not only a terrible refereeing decision, and VAR didn't overrule it, that it also influenced the whole league. Like Manchester City
Yeah,
won the league
absolutely.
because of that decision, basically, for me. I know you can say that it evens out or whatever, but I mean, Liverpool got some really dodgy ones last season. There was a goal at Spurs that was given offside that was never offside at all, or the other way around where it wasn't given. I can't remember. I think it was.
Yeah,
They got some really bad decisions last season. Um, and Man City were already looking a bit shaky towards the end of the season, and I love this season so far. And I'm real neutral when it comes to the top of the table. I just want to see good football. I love Liverpool. I know Robbie hates them, absolutely hates them, but I really love Liverpool, and it's like I'd love Arsenal to win it for you as well and Freddie. So I'm kind of neutral when it comes to the title race. But I wouldn't say that Liverpool have won it already now, looking at it, because it's early and Liverpool could easily dip. Um,
yeah. And it's and it is injuries as well. Like if Salah did go, that obviously becomes a massive thing for them. We're hopefully getting some players back soon. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but Ethan Nwaneri is hopefully back. He's a brand new kid. He's
yeah.
played 2 games and already he's got the weight of Arsenal's league on his shoulders. Bless him. But yeah, we're uncovering some good talent, I think, from the academy this season. Nwaneri and Miles Lewis-Skelly had an unbelievable week against Spurs and Aston Villa. I mean, that kid, he's 18. He's a
Mhm.
central midfielder that has been repurposed to left back,
Wow.
and just unbelievable. Like the maturity that he's shown is, I honestly cannot believe how lucky we've got with him because we've got about 8 left backs, but they're all they're all injured. So yeah, he's stepped up.
Okay, so looking ahead to the fixtures next weekend, Arsenal are at Wolves, which I mean it looks straightforward given Wolves' defence. Liverpool have Ipswich at home, um, and Manchester City are home to Chelsea, which that'll
Mm.
be that'll be good to watch on Saturday,
Yeah,
5:30.
big Saturday night. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's a great fixture.
Hmm. Oh, good. That's great. I like a 5:30 on Saturday.
That's got that's got a Cole Palmer goal written all over it, hasn't it? Celebrating at the Etihad.
Well, he's played them a couple of times already. Did he score a equaliser from the penalty spot against them last season? I think he did. It was a 4-4.
Ooh.
Um, and on Sunday night, Fulham are playing Manchester United at 7 p.m. That's an interesting kickoff time, 7 p.m. on a
Mm.
Sunday. Nobody will be watching that. Fulham against Man United. I mean, literally nobody will be watching that except Man United and Fulham fans. Aston Villa, West Ham. It's the 4:30 game on Sunday. That's quite a nice weekend. And you have Champions League this week?
Yeah, yeah. I'm going on Wednesday. We've got our 5th home game in a row in the space of 16 days due to just,
Mm.
random coincidences and all 4 competitions. So I think there's going to be a lot of empty seats on Wednesday because we're all just exhausted.
Oh yeah, they're
But
playing
yeah, we've
Lille,
got
right? Is it no Liverpool
we're
playing Lille? Arsenal playing who?
Dinamo Zagreb,
Okay.
who I just learned. Do you know who their new manager is?
Tell me.
He said, so from New Year's Day, they got taken over by Fabio Cannavaro.
Oh wow. Oh
Yeah,
wow.
that's an interesting one.
Oh, that's
And
interesting.
they've
Is
had
it
about
that?
3 weeks off.
I wonder.
Um,
Wow.
yeah, they've had a long winter break, so they're going to come nice and fresh, and we're going to be off the back of 6 games so far in January. So yeah, let's see. But if we win that one, I think we've got top 8 sealed, and then we avoid those 2 extra qualifying games, which is massive.
Right. Right. Yeah, and I mean that's really important to try and get in that automatic
Yeah.
zone in the Champions League. How do you feel about the new format? Do you think it's better or?
The problem with this season is that no one knows how big every game is going into it from this group stage because
Mm.
it's such a long, table and things change so quickly. with being at the ground, what a Champions League game was like previously at the group stage compared to what it is now has dropped off a bit for sure. People are treating them, with far less kind of gravitas. Um, there's not really been any. I don't think once we get used to it, I think it's fine. Not sure that it needed to be changed. I do find it strange that you're getting compared after 8 games against a bunch of other teams who haven't played the same fixtures as you. That does seem kind of wild.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's but it's not. It's not ruined the competition. Basically, it's
I mean,
still the Champions League.
as a neutral, I find it much more interesting, because right now you've got this. I mean, what happens usually is that because group stage usually finishes in December. Um,
Yeah,
in December, usually you get the situation where you've got two or three groups where qualification is in doubt, and then the rest of them are already sorted. So for the neutral, this is more interesting because you have, I mean, only Liverpool could sort of claim that they're kind of there, even though they're not mathematically there.
yeah,
Everyone else could easily not qualify automatically. So there's a lot of football games that have something riding on them with big teams in them,
yeah.
which I always
And I'll
like.
tell you, yeah, the absolutely massive one this week is 22nd in the league versus 25th in the league, which is Man City PSG. I mean, that is incredible that those two teams are down there. Um, so yeah, that one of them could leapfrog the other
Is
one
that
into the.
is that in Paris? It is, right?
Let's have a look. It's yes, Paris tomorrow night.
Oh, that's a hard game.
Yeah, so
Wow.
that's a big
I mean,
one.
yeah, Pep desperate to win the Champions League much more than the Premier League, so he'll be he'll
Yeah.
be his usual calm, serene self during that game.
Yeah. And they'll have to play a couple of extra ones because there's no way they're going to make top eight.
Okay. All right. Do you still walk to work? You said you used to walk to work. You still in distance of? Oh,
In Yeah, so we're still in Elephant and Castle, which which is way more central than I realized before we moved here. In the summer, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Rachel, my wife, still walks to and from work even this time of year, which I just think is horrible. I don't know how she does it, but it's only 45 minutes into the city. But I can just jump on a bus for 20 minutes instead. But yeah, in the summer it's lovely walking over London Bridge. We're very lucky. We got this flat just before lockdown, and Elephant and Castle since then has only just gone up and up. Lots of investment in the
I
area,
remember. I
which is kind of
remember.
unavoidable.
I remember the early 90s. It was a dump. Was it?
Yeah,
I mean,
That- yeah. It's funny. Everywhere I've lived in London, someone has told me, "Oh, that place used to be an absolute dump." I've lived in Hoxton, King's Cross, and Elephant and Castle, which, yeah, 30 years ago were all
uh,
not the place they are today.
uh-huh. So do you eat avocado on toast as well?
No, we get Iceland deliveries.
Oh wow. I have
Yeah,
avo
yeah, we
I have avocado on toast every morning, more or less.
I yeah, no, I do love an avocado, but I've got to be can't be doing things like buying food and having Netflix, right? I'm not allowed to spend our money on those things.
Okay. All
Got
right.
to, got to, got to save for my Arsenal season.
Well, yeah. I mean, you probably get more joy from football than any of us. At the end of the day, I mean, going to watch live football is something else compared to the TV experience. So it's great that you do that. Um, all right, Adam. Well, thank you very much for talking to us, and good luck for the rest of the season for Arsenal and for your
Thank you very much.
fancy football team. Um, keep us updated with anything we need to know, and as the inside man. Um, and
Absolutely.
have a great day today.
You too, and good luck to everyone else in the FPL league, the people that are actually trying to win it.